Welcome back, it's League on Lock. Mark and Eric here with you guys. The power ranking countdown continues, and we're to the last of the bottom three. Number 8 on our list. Still searching far and wide for playoffs here in this spot. And OpTic Gaming, they were close. One game away from making playoffs in the summer split. I think they're going to be a little bit further here in 2019. But man, they had an interesting offseason, and the weirdest, biggest surprise of the offseason to me is still Crown coming into this mid lane. Maybe he came to NA, but I would not expect OpTic to have been the squad. But here he is.
My question is it really Crown that's your biggest surprise here this year and on OpTic Gaming? Or is it more so the fact that they both signed Meteos and then pretty much right after signing Dardoch for the same position there? And it seems that Dardoch, the player with the most kills from the jungle position last year, is going to find himself in the academy for OpTic Gaming?
That's one of the main reasons they're staying in the bottom three at number 8, because even though Dardoch's on the roster, all signs are pointing to Meteos being that starting jungler. And Meteos, he was great in spring for 100 Thieves, but there was definitely a fall off starting in summer, and that's one of the main reasons I think that he ended up going over to FlyQuest in that trade, that whole debacle that was going on there. But other than that, it's 3 faces returning for the likes of OpTic, and they were probably the 3 most underwhelming parts of OpTic from last year.
Right, and that's what causes a lot of people to have some concern here, given who was available and on the market at the time, and some of the options that you could have made, and some of the options that were very reasonable options that you could have made the swap outs for but didn't, sticking with the likes of Dokla in the top lane, Arrow and Big as the bottom lane. People have issues with Arrow and Big, of course, but I think that still Arrow and Big, to me at least, is a duo that has developed at least some type of synergy together, and they do find ways to help each other, with Big helping Arrow out through the laning phase, helping him be a little bit more secure in his play, and then getting towards those team fights where Arrow is the one that has to be dishing out the damage for OpTic Gaming. But yes, you are right. The absolute question mark here has to be what's going on in the jungle for OpTic, and how did they even get up to the idea of contacting Crown to come to North America and play for them?
Yeah, because I can't imagine he was reaching out to, no offense to OpTic, asking them. I'm sure he wanted a top tier team. I don't know what's going on with Crown. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But either way, the play style and focus for this team is going to have to completely shift from 2018, because Power of Evil is not there, and I can't see them putting as many resources and emphasis for carrying on Crown as they did with PoE.
No, and hey, it has been a long time since we have seen...
How long has it been?
A long time since we've seen Crown pull out the performances that the likes of Power of Evil had last year on those carry champions, hard carrying this team through, being that win condition. And yes, you know what? I'm willing to give it a shot here with Crown, one of my favorite players of all time, and I wish him nothing but the best. But to see him here on OpTic Gaming with so many of the question marks around this roster and so many of the questions regarding not only the roster itself, but his career and his motivations and how confident he is and what his mental state is into this state. Yes, we've heard from Zabutin that Crown is extremely motivated for this year in North America. We're going to have to wait and see it on the Rift, of course.
And someone like Dokla in the top lane there, you saw him get some split pushing wins for them. We had him 10th on our top lane rankings. Maybe he's a guy who they can focus more on in that split push game, as the meta right now is all about solo lanes. Bot lane is basically... half the time it doesn't even really matter if you're winning that lane if the solo lanes are super far ahead. So maybe that's going to be one of their main win conditions in playthrough, is getting Dokla ahead to split push. But I mean, there's some pretty incredible top laners in North America that he's going to have to go up against. So I don't know how consistent that winning recipe is going to be.
Not only a lot of really well-performing top laners here in North America that he will have to contest with, it's a lot of the junglers that have these really good synergies developed already with their top laners here, and understanding that, yes, this is where we're at in League of Legends right now in this meta. The bottom lane doesn't matter all that much. It matters later into the game if you can get there and find the impact from it, given your players there. but it really matters to get these leads in the solo lanes, get those advantages early on and start snowballing them that the bottom lanes can't matter, can't have any impact in towards those middle, later part of the games if they extend out there. That's what you need to get doing. And OpTic Gaming with Dokala and Crown in those 2 solo lanes gives me some pause for concern here, given that I don't expect either one of them to be all that strong individually. And I think when you're talking about then adding in jungle help, well, yeah, if it was Dardoch, I'd feel great. I think that's the guy who's going to be aggressive, decisive, and make these plays to help them out. It's not Dardoch, it's Meteos.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I assume we'll see Dardoch up there.
I hope so.
Playing some LCS games.
Jeez, I really hope so.
I mean, unless they really pop off and have a great start to the split, but I don't exactly see that happening. Much like Clutch, the early game for OpTic last year was not very good, and a lot of the games that they did win were just team fights that they were turning around even when they were in gold deficits. And again, it was Power of Evil kind of popping off on these Victors, Talons, Fizzes, getting key picks on key carries, and they're not going to have that luxury again here. So if they have terrible early game again, the losses are going to start coming.
Hey, you want to know how you fix that terrible early game? I'm talking to you right now. It's that eighth jungler. It's Dardoch. Get that Dardoch guy out of the academy. What is going on with this type of situation? Again, we don't know if this is something with Dardoch, if this is something with Meteos, or if this is just a thing with OpTic Gaming. But I'll tell you what, Dardoch is far too talented to be starting out in the academy, and I know that, yeah, maybe there's something to be said about the likes of when Cloud9 threw down Svenskeren down to academy to play aggressive and whatnot, but that's a different situation. That was with Blabber coming up and showing Svenskeren that he had to play with that no-fear aggression style there, and I think right now with OpTic Gaming, that's not what this seems to be. It just seems to be that, hey, we're rolling with Meteos up there, it's going to be fine with Dokala and Crown, we're going to get our advantages, and early game's going to be great. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be great.
Yeah, and even with Cloud9, when they were swapping junglers, it was long periods of time that one of them was staying in that starting roster. They went on a crazy run with Blabber, and then Svenskeren came in, was kind of the sub-in for a lot of these best-of series. We know that tandem junglers in particular work incredibly well in the LCK and the LPL. But Mark, they play best-of all the time. In best-of-ones, you're not going to bring Dardoch in on Saturday and then Meteos plays on Sunday. That doesn't make any sense. So anytime there's going to be a sub, it's going to be a multi-week substitution.
Right, and hey, I want to bring more attention to this surprise sighting again. One more time, Crown in the mid lane. I don't know how they decided on it, but that's the real question here. Because yes, if we're getting that long time ago Crown, I'm hyped. This is unbelievable. The best signing to ever come to North America. I will lose my mind if we get that Crown.
Best signing ever.
Hey, if we get Crown on Victor deleting double lift here in North America,
whoa,
that's what it's all about again, of course.
That won't make fans very happy. But if we get LCK MVP level Crown and Dardoch starts the majority of games, maybe we're talking about an OpTic team that can actually make playoffs, but I don't see Crown returning to that form, and we're going to see Dardoch splitting time, so don't see him making playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see it either. It doesn't seem to be in the cards for OpTic Gaming once again this year.
But they were so close in summer, but it sounds like it's going to be a regression here for the Green Wall in 2019. But that's all the time today for League Unlocked. Mark and Eric with you guys. As always, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.